Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss any update from RAU'S IAS Study Circle. Join the only official Telegram channel of RAU'S IAS Study Circle to get the relevant materials and important updates. Hello and welcome to the Daily News Simplified, the what, why and how of the newspaper analysis from a civil service examinations perspective. So today we are going to discuss the Hindu Delhi edition dated 5th June 2022 and some important topics from the Indian Express Explains section of the last week. The topics to be discussed have been displayed on a screen and the timestamping of the same has been provided in the description box below. This topic has appeared in today's The Hindu Delhi edition at page number 8 and is in relation to the surrogacy law which was recently passed in 2021 December by India's Parliament. Now, the issue of surrogacy is very much in news and is also very important from a civil service examinations perspective in prelims as well as mains examination. In preliminary examination, there can be certain questions asked on the provisions related to surrogacy law, and in mains examination, in addition to this, there can be an analytical aspect also. That is why in today's session, we are going to discuss in detail all the important dimensions associated with this particular law as well as issue. The latest context of this particular article is that the Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021 has been challenged in Delhi High Court. Now, to understand the issue of surrogacy, first we need to understand the changing socio-economic conditions of India. The changing conditions have provided us ample number of evidences whereby the need of surrogate mother is becoming very important. That can be either because of the reasons of rising cases of infertility, or there can be other reasons also which are not related to the changing status but can be related to the freedom of an individual as well as personal choices. But in all this scenario, the most important issue lies the rights of surrogate mother. And in order to curb the exploitation of the women by prevalence of commercial surrogacy, Parliament passed the Assisted Reproductive Technologies Act and the Surrogacy Act in December 2021. This act has defined surrogacy whereby it says that surrogacy means a practice whereby one woman bears and gives birth to a child for an intending couple with the intention of handing over such child to the intending couple after the birth. Now, here there are several legal as well as ethical issues involved in this. But first of all, before coming to this particular thing, we will look at certain key provisions of the Act. The Act has prohibited the commercial surrogacy, but it allows the altruistic surrogacy. By altruistic surrogacy, we mean that the prime objective of the surrogacy must be help. That is, in order to help someone, the mother can become a surrogate mother. The Act has also defined certain purposes for which the surrogacy is permitted. First is the case of proven infertility. If the intending couples are suffering from proven infertility, then surrogacy is allowed. Second, it must be done only for the altruistic purposes, and hence it cannot be done for the commercial purposes. Further, it is not in relation to the producing children for sale, prostitution, or other forms of exploitation. And the last reason is any condition or disease as specified through regulations. However, the eligibility criteria for the intending couple is that the intending couple should have a certificate of essentiality and a certificate of eligibility issued by appropriate authority. By this we mean that intending couple must have themselves with two important certificates, that is the certificate of eligibility, that is they are eligible to have a surrogate baby, and the certificate of essentiality, that it is essential for them to have that baby. The certificate of eligibility to the intending couple is issued upon fulfillment of certain conditions. Now these conditions are very controversial which we will discuss later on, but first you should know that what are those conditions. First is that the couple must be Indian citizen and married for at least 5 years. Second, the age of the wife should be between 23 to 50 years and of the husband should be 26 to 55 years. Then it is also said that they must not have any surviving child, that is biological, adopted, or surrogate. This would not include a child who is mentally or physically challenged or suffers from life threatening disorders or fatal illness. This means that the intending couple must not have a child before having the surrogate child. Further, it also has provided room to the government that with time they can add certain other conditions also. Then there are eligibility criteria for the surrogate mother also. First is that she must be a close relative of the intending couple. Second, she should be a married woman having a child of her own, which means that before reproducing her own child, she cannot become a surrogate mother. The age must be between 25 to 35 years. And there is also a limit that how many times a mother can become a surrogate mother in her lifetime. That is only once. And last, she must possess a certificate of medical and psychological fitness for surrogacy. The Act has also provided for the national and state surrogacy boards. The functions of this includes advising the central government on policy matters related to surrogacy, laying down the code of conduct of surrogacy clinics, and supervising the functioning of the state surrogacy boards. It is claimed that a child born out of the surrogacy procedure will be deemed to be the biological child of the intending couple. Now, this is very important. Why this is very important? Let us understand here only. Now, there is an ethical right of a mother on her baby. If an individual is producing her child, she has bore the pain of producing this child for around 9 months, then that mother can be emotionally attached to this child. And that is why she has the ethical right over this. And that can be challenged on legal grounds. That is why it is said that despite the fact that this child was produced by this lady, still he or she will be considered the biological child of the intending couple. But here, to protect the rights of the surrogate mother, she has been given an option to withdraw from surrogacy before the embryo is implanted in her womb. Now, this is also very important. Now, let us come to the analytical part. Here is a chart in front of you whereby on left side are the provisions which we have already discussed, and on the right hand side there are criticisms and issues associated with these key provisions, because of which this act has been challenged in Delhi High Court as discussed in the context today. First of all, as we have discussed, that the act says that the couples can opt for surrogacy only on the medical grounds and should produce certificates of eligibility. So now here the condition is laid down only on the medical grounds. It might be a case that there is one woman who is medically fit to produce her own child but does not want to produce her own child. And that is why it says that this essential condition of medical fitness ignores the reproductive choices of a woman. Even in case Puttaswamy case, the Supreme Court propounded that reproductive choices of the women is their constitutional right, citing personal liberty under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. It says that the couple should have been married for 5 years and not having a living child. Now, if this has to be taken, then the aspirations of single parents has been ignored in this. Because with the changing socio-economic realities of our own country, there are certain individuals who do not want to get married, but they want to feel the warmth and love of their own child. And that is why the aspirations of single parents must be taken into account. But the essential condition of marriage, and that too for 5 years, is put in this act. Now, the third important thing is that the commercial surrogacy is strictly prohibited and only altruistic surrogacy can be practiced. Here again, we should understand that without any compensation for surrogate, the value of the reproductive labor has been undermined. Now, here I want to say one important thing, that the issue of surrogacy is very complex, and that is why the point is not that the commercial surrogacy should be allowed. No, the objective of commercial surrogacy is challenged on many ethical grounds. However, we should find a middle path that what to do in this complex and conflicting scenario. If we allow commercial surrogacy on one hand, then the rights of the surrogate mother can be exploited to a very large extent. And if we do not allow any commercial element in this whole scenario, then the compensation and the value of the reproductive labor is undermined. Similarly, it also says that the surrogate mother has to be a close relative of the couple, a married woman with a child of her own aged between 25 to 35. Now, you yourself imagine that in the family or the extended family, will there not be personal issues related to this? How can someone find a surrogate mother to be a close relative? Because doing so might challenge the privacy of the couple. Then comes the next point. The law allows a single woman to resort to surrogacy as she has to be a widow or a divorcee between the age of 35 and 45. Now, here the rights of single women are taken into account, but the rights of single men are not taken into account. It means that the Act does not stand on the principle of gender equality. The single men are not eligible under any circumstances. Single unmarried women are also not eligible. Further, the Act defines the couple as the legally married Indian man and women above the age of 21 and 18 years respectively. Now, here again, the gender equality principle is not taken into account because here man and women, just two genders are taken. It ignores the rights of the LGBTQ community. So, these are the major six issues or criticisms which are related to this particular act and will help you to critically analyze this act in your mind as well as will help you to write your mains answer. This topic has appeared in today's The Hindu Daily Edition at page number 11, and this is in relation to the FPIs, that is, Foreign Portfolio Investment. In this session, we will learn about the basics of the foreign portfolio investment and will also learn that how these FPIs are different from FDIs. FDI stands for Foreign Direct Investments. Coming back to this particular news article, this article has appeared in the recent context of the capital flight in the terms of foreign portfolio investment from India. The figures show that around rupees 44,000 crores of the FPIs have gone out of India, and that is almost comparable to the March 2020 period when India announced a nationwide lockdown. In this sense, we should learn that what exactly are the FPIs. Now, foreign portfolio investment, as the name is suggesting, that it is investment which is coming from the foreign country in a portfolios manner. It consists of securities and other financial assets held by investors in another country. However, an important point in this regard is that these investments do not provide the investor with the direct ownership of a company. It is purely for the income generation and no ownership in the management or assets is given to the foreign portfolio investors. And because of this, it is relatively liquid depending upon the volatility of the market. And because of higher liquidity, these FPIs are also known as hot money. This hot money represents the short term inflows such as investment in shares, bonds, debentures, etc. As far as the categories of investment in the FPIs is concerned, they are open to multiple sources. For example, shares, corporate bonds, debentures, commercial papers, mutual fund units, as well as the units issued by REITs and InvITs, treasury bills, dated securities, state development loans, and Indian depository receipts. Now, there are two categories of FPIs, category 1 and category 2. Category 1 are those FPIs which are the foreign government and the entities like banks, pension funds, and mutual funds. The category 2 FPIs are the all other FPIs excluding the above mentioned category 1 FPIs. Now, in this session, it is also very important for us to understand what is the basic difference between an FDI and FPI because both are the foreign investment and both the investments are crucial for a national economy. However, there are three prime criteria on which these differ, that is, objective, involvement, and nature. The objective of the foreign direct investment, that is FDI, is to manage the assets. However, the objective of FPI is to acquire an income stream without the operational control. As far as the involvement is concerned, FDI investors are directly involved in the management and ownership control they have over their assets or companies. But in FPIs, there is no active involvement, and that is why they are also known as passive investors. On the other hand, the FDI investors are known as active investors. Now, coming to the nature, the FDIs are more permanent in nature. On the other hand, as we have already discussed, that FPI, because they are known as hot money, they are more liquid in nature, and it is very easy to sell the securities and pull out. And hence, it increases the volatility in the market also. And this is one of the biggest concerns in today's news article, that around this much amount of FPIs have been withdrawn from India. This topic has appeared in today's The Hindu Daily edition at page number 10. This topic deals with an important species from the ecology and biodiversity perspective. The species is named as emperor penguins. Now, emperor penguins are one of the largest penguins across the world and are found in the Antarctic continent. This topic is mainly relevant from the preliminary examinations perspective in GS paper 1 because it mentions general issues and environmental ecology, biodiversity, and climate change. In this very regard, you need to be aware about certain key facts related to emperor penguins. Now, as far as the IUCN status is concerned, the emperor penguins are classified as nearly threatened categories. That means that it is still not vulnerable as far as the IUCN categorization is concerned. For most of the years, the emperor penguins live on the thick sea ice surrounding the Antarctic continent, and because they incubate their eggs during the Antarctic winter, at that particular point of time, because of extreme weather, it is almost inaccessible to the human beings. And that is why much remains unknown about the location or the total number of breeding colonies of these penguins in Antarctica continent. As far as the diet of these species is concerned, they are carnivores. They mainly feed on the fishes, squids, and Antarctic krills. They hunt for food at the sea, in the open water, or through cracks in the sea ice. Now, recently, a dozen of countries had backed giving world's largest penguins a special protection status at a 10-day meeting in Berlin of parties to the Antarctic Treaty. But now, as we know that because of the climate change, almost all the species are facing the risk of extinction, even the emperor penguins are also facing the same risks. That is why most of the environmentalists have argued that the classification of the IUCN regarding the emperor penguin species must be upgraded from nearly threatened to the vulnerable category. However, as far as the present categorization is concerned, this species is nearly threatened as per IUCN. This topic is from the Indian Express Explained section and discusses in detail that how the two technologies, that is RFID, which stands for radio frequency identification, how does this technology differs from a similar technology, that is a barcode. So that is why this topic is mainly from the science and tech section. And if you go by the previous question paper analysis, UPSC 2019 asked the question in this very fashion regarding two other technologies. The question was based on the difference between the technologies, that is LTE, which stands for long term evolution, and VoLTE, which stands for voice over long term evolution. So if you closely analyze, here UPSC wants you to know the basic differences among the basic technologies which are there in the current affairs. There were two statements given and you had to find the correct difference between these two technologies. In similar fashion, today we are going to discuss the difference between the RFID as well as barcode. Before coming to the difference, first we will analyze the basics of these technologies, that what exactly is RFID and barcode. First we will understand the RFID, that is radio frequency identification. Now you all are aware about the tags which are there on the windscreen of your cars. Whenever you are driving on highways or expressway, there comes a toll. And if you are having a car, there is a tag which is placed on your windscreen, and once you crosses this toll, the automatic deduction of amount takes place. Now this tag which is there on your car is based on the RFID technology. And as we all know that there are no wires, that is why it is said that RFID is a wireless technology. It uses radio waves. Why? Because it is radio frequency. Hence, it uses radio waves to automatically identify various tagged objects. For example, your car. Now, this technology has three important components, that is transponder, receiver, and transmitter. All these components are used to store, process, and transmit the data. Now, let us understand the basic working of this particular technology. Now, this diagram shows you its basic working. Now this is the RFID reader which is installed on the structures which are there on the toll gate, for example. This is the RFID tag which is placed on your car's windscreen. As soon as your car comes in a range of this RFID reader, there is also an antenna. This antenna interacts with your RFID tag and exchange of data takes place. This receives the stored data from the tag and then it transmits to the RFID reader. Now this RFID reader is also connected to the antenna wirelessly and receives the data from the RFID tag through the antenna. And now this data is also transmitted to the RFID database where it can be stored and evaluated. So that is how the RFID technology works. The RFID reader, that is this one, continuously sends the radio waves of a specific frequency in the RFID system through this antenna. These are the radio waves which are being sent in its local area. If the object to which the RFID tag is attached is within the range of the radio waves, that is, your car comes within the range of these radio waves, it provides the feedback to the RFID reader through this one. This RFID reader then identifies the object which is based on that particular feedback. Now going forward, these RFID tags are of three types. First is the passive tag, second is the semi-passive tags, and third are the active tags. Now these are very simple. Active tags are those RFID tags which has internal circuit of its own. And this internal circuit is powered by a power source. That means that active tags are not dependent upon some external sources. They have their own power sources. They also have batteries which are being used to power the active RFID tags. On the other hand, when we compare it to the passive RFID tags, there is no power supply for the passive tags. But now the question arises that if they do not have their battery, their power supply of their own, from where do these get the power? They get the power from the reader's incoming radio waves. That is, once the RFID reader sends these radio waves in the local area, these tags come in contact with these particular waves, get their power. So active tags have their own power source. Passive tags do not have their own power supply. And in this line, the semi-passive tags are the middle ground between the passive and active tags. They have their internal circuit with a power source, but mainly they rely on the radio waves which are received from the reader to transmit the response. That is, yes, they do have their internal circuit, but they are powered through the incoming radio waves by readers. Now this is the basic RFID technology. Now let us move towards the barcode. Now all of us have seen the basic barcode, for example, the QR codes. And we know that all these codes have some sort of pattern on it, that is in black and white color. Despite the fact that all barcodes may look similar to us, but there is a huge difference in the pattern on those barcodes. A barcode is a printed series of parallel bars or lines of varying width. Now this is very important because it is on the basis of these width the data which is being exchanged between two devices. This is used for entering the data into a computer systems. An important thing is that all these strips represent the binary digits, that is 0 and 1. This is the replication of what has been written above. These strips, when decoded, have the encryptions in form of 1 and 0. For example, this is 1, this is 0, again this is 1, this is 0, this is 1, 0, like in this fashion. Similarly, if I make the two lines of same width, that is this, and then I have suppose this line. So what will it be? 1, 1, 0. 1, 0. Something this sort of. So these are encoded in the form of binary digits 0 and 1. And this shows the working of a barcode. This is a scanner. This head shoots a laser light that scans over these black and white strips, and this light is again reflected back to the photoelectric reader. Now the black areas of the code reflects less light because the dark colors absorb much light and hence they reflect lesser amount of light. The white colors reflect more light. And then this binary code is sent to a computer which decodes it based on the scheme that was used to create it. That is dependent upon the width, design and pattern of these lines, it is decoded. These barcodes are scanned using special optical scanners known as barcode readers. Now comes the basic difference between RFID and barcode technology. We have discussed all the important points. Now RFID, as we have discussed, they use radio waves, and the barcode, as we have discussed, use lasers, that is light. This is the prime difference between RFID and the barcode. Now we have seen that barcodes, for example the QR codes, many a times are pasted on the consumer desks, counters at the shops. That means that most of the times they are not protected, or if there is certain amount of protection, then it comes in the form of plastic lamination. But these barcodes are easily susceptible to wear and tear. But on the other hand, RFID technologies are more durable. Further, as we also know that on the pay tolls on the highways and expressways, number of cars passes through those booths and automatic deduction of amount takes place within a very small amount of time. This means that RFID scanners can process the dozens of tags in a single second. But on the other hand, we know with our experience that it takes a little time to scan the barcode. Further, the barcode is simple and easy to copy or counterfeit, because what you have to do is you just have to replicate the pattern. On the other hand, RFID is not easy to counterfeit or duplicate. So these are the basic differences between RFID and the barcode technology. This topic is again from the Science and Tech section and is in relation to a new technology which is there in news recently. The technology is named as D2M. Now this D2M stands for Direct to Mobile. And as the name is suggesting, similar is the working of this technology and the benefit. In this session we will discuss the latest context, that why this topic is in news, what is the basic direct to mobile broadcasting, and what are its multifarious benefits. Recently, Department of Telecommunication and India's Public Service Broadcasters Prasar Bharati are exploring the feasibility of a technology that allows to broadcast the video and other forms of multimedia content directly to the mobile phones. Now, because of this initiative taken by our government, this topic is in news. Now, we'll understand that what is direct to mobile broadcasting. Now, presently, if you have to watch some video on your mobile, what is the route? The route is that you will surf for that video on the internet, and then either you will watch that video there only, or you will download that video in your device. But in both the things, the internet is the medium through which you will interact with that video. Now this direct to mobile technology aims to eliminate this particular medium, and that is why this technology is based on the convergence of broadband, that is internet, and the broadcast. The mobile phones can receive the terrestrial digital TV directly. It will be similar that presently how you use the FM. You do not require an internet connection to hear the voices from the radio. So if this technology is possible, then why not can be upgraded to see the videos also without connecting to the internet. When anyone has to connect to the FM radio, that person selects specific radio frequencies, and whatever channel which is linked with that particular frequency is available, the person is able to hear the voices from that channel. And similarly, using the D2M, the multimedia content can also be beamed to the phones directly. And that is where lies its maximum potential benefits. First of all, this technology can be used to broadcast the citizen-centric information, leading to the better emanation of initiatives which are in relation to the good governance. Further, during the times of disasters, it can be further used to counter the fake news, issue emergency alerts, and offer assistance in disaster management. The third is, as we have discussed, that because they do not use internet and hence they will not exhaust the mobile data, and more importantly it will be a cheaper technology compared to the broadband connection, and hence it comes at a very nominal rate. Therefore its accessibility among the poor section will also increase drastically. Further, the people from the rural areas or other hinterlands or inaccessible terrains like border areas, hill areas will be mostly benefited. Presently, they do not have internet access, and that is why this is one of the biggest reasons behind a huge digital divide in our country. And hence, this technology can eliminate the issues which arise out of this digital divide. In this very line, it will also promote the e-learning, telemedicine, tele-education, etc. Further, not only from the consumer's point of view, even from the business point of view also, it can enable the telecom service providers to offload the video traffic from their mobile network onto the broadcast network, and thereby it will help them to decongest the valuable mobile spectrum. And if they are able to decongest this mobile spectrum, it will also help to reduce the call drops and increase the data speeds. So these are the various benefits which can be very helpful in our daily life as well as from the commercial point of view. Now is the time for the question of the day. The question from yesterday's DNS is in front of you. The question said that due to improper and indiscriminate disposal of old and used computers or their parts, which of the following are released into the environment as e-waste? Now this is also the previous question asked in UPSC 2013. There are 7 pollutants given: beryllium, cadmium, chromium, heptachlor, mercury, lead, plutonium. The correct answer to this question is option B. You had to eliminate the heptachlor and plutonium. Question from today's DNS is in relation to the difference of technology of barcodes and RFID. There are 3 statements given and you have to find a correct statement. Statement 1 says barcodes are easy to copy or counterfeit, whereas RFID is more complicated to replicate or counterfeit. Statement 2, in contrast to the barcode scanners, RFID scanners can process dozens of tags in a single second. Statement 3, unlike the RFID tags, which must in line of the site, barcodes need not be. The options are A, 1 and 2 only, B, 2 and 3 only, C, 1 and 3 only, D, 1, 2 and 3. So that's all for today. All the very best. Study hard.